Previously on Dragon Ball Z, SPY was trading at a crucial resistance level, and today it got rejected and broke down. But later on in the session, it recovered and closed basically the same place it closed Friday. Meanwhile, NASDAQ is trading at a profit on the year. Unbelievable. What plays did our heroes make today? And did they survive or did they get clapped? Find out on this episode of Dragon Ball Z. What's happening? Zeno Trader here, and today we are going to be looking at some interesting activity in the marketplace today, as well as some tips and tricks to help you become a more profitable trader. Today was an interesting day, okay, because SPY was down, but the NASDAQ was up. Tech stocks are coming through in a serious way to help prop up this already manipulated market, okay? So we're gonna got a lot of stuff to cover today. Going to get into a few things to help people chart and some tips and tricks and things that you can utilize according to your various trading strategies. YouTube channel, hit the like button, like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. The link will be in the description in this video. All right, so let us get into the plays. The first thing today, I think that became clear is that the SPY calls that we got into Friday got clapped. I did hold them, though, and they did recover somewhat, came back down, recovered somewhat. In this market, I'm not going to bet against SPY, of course, because we got into them, they fell, right? There's sayings that I have in times like this. If I owned a funeral parlor, no one would die. That's what it feels like. And there's been times like this during my career where I just strike out on everything I get into, and it's like the market is like, oh, he's in it. All right. As soon as he gets in it, we're going to go the opposite direction. But, these phases, they come and they go. You just have to, refocus yourself. I didn't trade anything today. I took a step back to focus on education because education is paramount. Okay. I didn't get to look at anything last night. And in the morning, I woke up too late to scan. So I was like, I'm just going to stay out. Whatever happens, happens. We miss out on money every day anyway. What difference does it make? One more day isn't going to kill you. I'm pretty sure there was plays here and there that could have made some people in chat got into some stuff. But I was like, you know what? If I don't have a game plan going in today, I'm just not going to trade. Because if a part of what helps to become a better trader is to recognize certain situations and to be able to understand, hey, look, I didn't plan anything today. I don't want to get into the market and wing it willy-nilly. You know what I mean? Just throw something against the wall, hope something sticks. That's not the way to become a profitable trader. Trading is mostly, once you get the technicals down and once you get the fundamentals down of trading, most of trading is really psychological. Okay, a lot of the hurdles that we experience on a daily basis are psychological hurdles that we need to overcome in order to get to where we need to go, which is ultimately to become profitable. And so we need to cut our losses and recognize when the trade has gone against us. And we also need to take a look and we need to let the winners run. But in order to do that, you have to have a trading plan. You can't just look at something and say, oh, it's going up, I'm getting in calls, or it's going down, I'm getting in puts. It's a lot more more complicated than that. Okay. So we need to be able to recognize that. Now, one of the things that I found out through research that I think will help a lot of people in the future today is VWAP. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what VWAP is. It's the volume weighted average, and it's typically this little yellow line here, right? For those of you who have Thinkorswim, when you initially turn on VWAP, it has three lines, not just this one. You actually have to turn these two off, and I thought they were annoying when I first learned about VWAP. I'm like, why? What's the purpose of those? Like, I don't need that. I'm just gonna cut them off, right? But today, I figured out that they turn out to be very useful uh, when you're trying to find entry and exit points inside of a trade, because they act like support and resistance. So right now we're looking at Tesla's chart, okay, and it's trading, of course. Um, but the interesting thing is that it, you know, runs up, you know, hits the top of the top VWAP band, comes down, hits it again, comes down, then comes down to the middle VWAP band, bounces up. So it basically trades in this range all day, and then after market, it's coming down. It's broken VWAP after hours. Um, that's not necessarily valid because the volume after hours is not that of a regular trading day, but you can see, and it also bounced off of the bottom, the very like at the opening bell, a few minutes in, a minute or two in, it came down, broke the bottom VWAP band, and then bounced right back up. So this would have been a nice entry for calls if you did decide to make this play. And then if you even go back a little bit and look about how this trades, right here in the middle between the middle VWAP band and the top VWAP band, just consolidates all day, just trades there. Comes down. So it's a very useful tool to plot out entries and exits. So typically, that if it gets down here, and of course you have to use this in conjunction with other, and you never use anything alone, and nothing's ever 100%. But if you can confirm these entries down at the bottom band of VWAP, you can get in most times, and you'll make some money if you get in at the bottom channel of VWAP. And we could take this further back, to really illustrate this point. Every time it hits the bottom VWAP, now this is very expensive information I'm giving you for free. So please like and share this video. Most people don't know this. I didn't know it until today. Okay. And it works on any chart. So let's take a look at SHOP. Okay. Same thing. Every time it gets down to the red, bounces, 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 bounces. So the bottom channel of VWAP is a great place to look for calls. Okay, not that it can't ever break, because there will be times, maybe it will, but most times you might want to look for calls down there in conjunction, of course, with other indicators. See, look at this, and then it channels up and then gets to the top. It rejects off the top band. Now, I'm not saying go grab 1,500 July 15 puts on SHOP, right? But what I am saying is that look at these rejections here, okay? Very interesting. We'll see how this plays out tomorrow. Um, but yeah, rejection again. Rejection again. Went a little bit past, but ended up falling down. Rejection again. It never stays above this for a very long period of time. This was intraday, right? Never stays above the top line of VWAP. You know, hit it, came down, or it'll trade just at it, but then it eventually fall back down. So yeah, as you can see, this is a very, very, very powerful tool that I had no clue about until today. Like I said, I took some time off today. I didn't trade. I didn't get into the market. But what I did do is I said I'm going to focus on my education. I'm going to strengthen my fundamentals. Tinker with some things, figure some things out, um, and I'm going to apply them in my trading. So I'm going to post some other videos that I found that were very useful to me today, and you guys are going to get some really good value out of it. I'll put the links in the Discord chat, in the educational channels later on. But yeah, sure. Another thing that I want to show you guys, and this is, TOS, by the way. Now, I will say that not every broker has VWAP that looks like this. I think Webull does. Not sure if anybody else does. Everybody else that I have tried, I think, has had it be the single line VWAP. But I do want to talk about Fidelity for a moment. Active Trader with Fidelity. This is so underrated. So underrated. I'm going to show you a few things as to why. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of this stuff, not a lot of it, but some of it is duplicatable on TOS, but just the way that it does it here, I'm very fond of it. So one of the things that I like the pivot points here. I just do the charts. I mean, you can get a lot more utility out of the space that's given versus TOS. So I find that to be helpful when I'm looking at charts. So there is a filter for options, okay? Because Active Trader Pro, I find to be a little bit more better when it comes to option research than TOS is, okay? They have a whole tab for options. You could pull up chains, filters, builders, statistics, the biggest trades, probability, profit loss, strategy ideas, option research. The filters, it'll show you, you could go and change this high option volume, high call volume, high put. So you can see where all the puts are being made, right? The stuff that people are buying. And see, the reason why this is so great is because typically a lot of traders don't have an engine for profits. Okay, they don't know where to find trades or where to start to look for trades. And I think this is a very interesting fundamental way to find trades if you're looking for them. Not to say that you should just hop on these trades willy-nilly, but it's a place to start, right? So let's take, for example, okay, so we got high put volume. So we see that, and you could, categorize it, the change. So we see these are down $4, the lowest to the highest amount. So this particular stock was up $15 today. So if we click on there, it'll change the chart to DXCM. Um, you can see how it's trading. This is a daily chart, 5 minutes. So over the past 3 days, it's been going up, 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 and up and up, right? Um, Now, what I would like to know is this, because on here, I can't seem to get the VWAP to have those three lines, but what we'll do is this. We'll go over, and what's this ticker symbol? DXCM. All right, check it out. Let's see. So let's see if our theory holds true, right? And this is the first time I've done this in this video. I haven't, tried to do this before. So we're going to both find out together how much stock we should put into this. And of course, what do you know? Hit, it'll trade on it, but eventually it'll fall. Never trades too much above it for too long. One or two candles, about it. But the idea is that's where you want to look for puts. Okay. See, it traded above it, but not too long. So if you would have got puts up here, you would have been in the building. Now, the thing is, it's trading. It bounced off of the middle VWAP and then came back down. Now, what's going to happen tomorrow is one or two things. Either this is because you can't trust the aftermarket data because the volume's not there, as you can clearly see. But one or two things is going to happen. Either this is going to gap down, or it's going to gap up. It's going to hit 425, get rejected again, come back down, or it's just going to break down below VWAP. If it does break VWAP with volume, of course, and there's other, confirmation and indicators, it'd be good for some puts, right? So this is how I'm just showing you how you can generate some trade ideas without, too much extra stuff, extra overcomplication and overthinking, right? Because that's a lot of it tends to be. So VWAP is a strong support for this, has been today. So if it breaks VWAP, you want to look for some puts, but again, you're going to need way more confirmation than you would need if it broke this, because this is pretty much guaranteed that it's going to fall eventually at some point. The VWAP is hit or miss. It can trade on VWAP for a long time. It could trade right below it. Then, you know what I mean? The VWAP's iffy that way. But once we get up here and down here, and I'd like to do an experiment to see if, let me see something, because we may be on to something right in front of your face. If I go to edit studies and I go to RSI, right? I just want to see something real quick. What do you know? So, not only does this tell you support and resistance, but it tells you overbought and oversold, folks. Look at that. We just discovered something right in front of your face. I had a funny feeling this might be the case. And what do you know? Guys, we have struck gold right there. Da Vinci, Einstein, they're all looking at me right now. Okay? This was just discovered right here, right now in this video. RSI and the top VWAP band, top and bottom VWAP bands work together. Look at that. Oversold. Bam, right there. If you would have got calls at the end of this trading day, Next day in the building, baby. Look at that. Wow. This is interesting. I'm going to try to do some of this. I'm going to do so. Of course, there's going to need to be back testing and other stuff and paper trades first before I implement this in my actual trading. But I will say we are on to something, folks. Wow. That is interesting. That is huge if that works. It'd be interesting to see what the percentage of trades is that works out that way. But yeah, let's go back to Active Trader Pro now. And then we got other stuff on here. Trello, I think everybody knows about that by now. It's interesting, high put volume. So that means people think that it's getting overbought. It's getting too high up to the top. And it seems like it does nothing but just gap up and gap up and gap up and gap up. Well, let's check it out. See what they got. High put volume, eh? We'll see if it's justified or not. TWLO. All right. So we got some overbought up here. Okay. Well, it's a problem because we're in a sideways zone, so there's no indication of where the price action doesn't give us a direction because it's trading on VWAP, and that's never good. You want to stay away from this type of stuff. Don't trade anything that looks like this. You only trade when it gets at the top or the bottom. Research is going to go a long way in making you tons of cash. There's really nothing super, super difficult about this. It's just the research is painstakingly tedious. But if you don't put the work in, how do you expect to make money anyway? Right? So even if you sat here for about 2-3 hours going through different various stocks the way I just showed you and trying to find different opportunities. And what I'll say is this: don't bog yourself down with 15, 20 different things on your watch list. I would say if you're going to make a watch list, have a watch list of between 3 and 5 different things, okay? Because setting alerts and watching things, I've done this, trust me. And in setting 10 alerts on your phone and they all start going off around the same time because stuff is tied to the same index, you don't want that because you're not going to be able to catch everything anyway. And remember that as a trader, our job is not to catch every whale out there, right? We're strategic hunters, and all you need is 1 or 2 a day, especially starting off. But the consistency is more than the amount gained. It doesn't matter how much you make. You can make 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks a day. It doesn't matter as long as you're trending in the right direction. So, Trillo, there's not a direction one way or the other. So I'm not too excited about calls or puts either way. It's been doing this, trading inside the channel, and it's been gapping up. So it ended another day like this. So maybe it's safe to assume that it's going to gap up again tomorrow. If this pattern changes for any reason, though, you can make some money because look, it's the same pattern every day. Sideways, gap up, sideways, gap up, sideways, gap up. So as long as that pattern persists, we should be in the building on Twilio calls. But again, if this pattern ever changes for any reason, because eventually this is going to be tremendously oversold to the point where something's going to have to give, right? because it's getting ridiculous. But the other thing I was gonna say is, if you want to play some opportunity, like if you want to be a risk taker, if it does hit the top band, you can hurry up and get into puts real quick. But they're gonna have to all be intraday trades. They can never be swing trades. Like if you get in like right here, but that's not a good entry because it didn't hit the band. But you know what I'm saying? Like if it actually touches it and then you get into puts, of course taking profit along the way at each pivot point, or whatever predetermined point you utilize on your chart to indicate entries, exits, and profit taking zones. Back to Active Trader Pro. Now, a couple of things that I want to show you. A couple real quick is, let me see here. It's being annoying. Oh my God, come on. Okay. So, dang, look at that. That's a beautiful thing right here. This bounce off of the 200 MA. If you would have caught that, you would have been in the building. So that's part of the reason why I use 200 MA VWAP and 50 MA on my charts, because you can identify significant buying opportunities. Because the whole idea is to buy low and to sell high, not to buy high and sell low, which is the mistake that many traders make, which is actually a perfect segue into the next point that I was going to show you about Active Trader Pro. How to price options, okay? How to price options. This is something that's very difficult for a lot of people to grasp, the concept of pricing options, okay? It's not hard once you know what you're doing. That's anything with options. The thing I like about Active Trader Pro is that it tells you, even though you can't customize these columns like you can in TOS, however, the default ones are sufficient enough for different things. It does give you the open interest. It does give you the volume, ask, bid, change, last strike, delta, theta. But it gives you something active trade that TOS does not: the contract high and the contract low. This, people, is very, very, very important for pricing options. I cannot stress that to you enough. And the reason is, it gives you a reference point between what the low of the contract is and what the high is. And that will tell you if you're getting in at a good price or not for the particular option you're looking to purchase. Now, of course, we know that the ones that are shaded in dark are in the money options, right? The ones that are not shaded in are out of the money options, right? So these are options for, Twilio. So these are all call options. And by the way, you can make it calls and puts, or you can just make it specifically calls or puts. So we're just going to go with calls right now so we can get everything up on the screen in one shot. So we can see immediately how many people are in these contracts up and down the chain and how many have changed hands today. And we can see what the contract low is and what it last sold for. How much above this is it at? And how much below the high is it at? So we see that the most someone is willing to pay for this option, because the bidders don't want to overpay, is 14.45. They don't want to pay the contract high, um, you know, but it looks like the people that, the sellers are not budging much, because they're not coming down. They are coming down, but not significantly. So they came down to 14.95. So these people are going to have to come up to at least 14.80, 14.95. But the point I'm making is, you can see the lowest amount that this contract traded for. You can see the highest amount it traded for. So you want to buy this contract somewhere, I wouldn't say directly in between. It depends on the contract maturity. Okay. This is June 19th, right? So June 19th, 185. We can see that option as of today is now in the money, because Trillo is obviously trading at 186. And the option went up $3.69 today. So if you would have, I don't know, bought this on Friday, your contracts would be worth $3.69 more than they were worth Friday, as of close today. We can see that 1,300 people currently have open interest in this contract, and we can see that 1,600 of the contracts were changed hands today. We can see the delta, since it's in the money, it's 55 cent. Theta, since it's June 19th, is so far away. But the thing is, of course, if you got into these contracts, it'd be between $1,400 and $1,500 for each contract. Nobody wants to pay that. It would be nice if you could have got in when they were $235 a contract. And then could you imagine taking it from $235 to $1,400 a contract? Jesus Christ. But this is how you price options. You see where the money's at, right? Or where the money's going. You see how cheap or expensive it is to get in. And of course, like I taught everybody before, if you add the extrinsic and intrinsic value, it'll give you the fair value for the option. So if the fair value for the option is, it's probably going to be somewhere in here. It's not going to be over here. So you can tell if the option is overpriced or not. If the option's overpriced, you don't want to get in. Simple as that. You missed the boat. Just think of options trading or any, it's a bus schedule, right? And once you miss the bus, you got to look for another. You got to wait for the next bus. You don't try to get FOMO and chase down the bus, because you could get injured that way, get hit by a car, whatever. So just got to wait for the next one to come. So you look up and down the chain based upon the chart analysis, and you can see some things. It's very telling. Now, if we look at the puts for this same expiration date, we got the in the money puts, and then we got the out of the money puts. Okay, so people believe that Trillo is going to fall because the put interest is going up. So we need to see where that is. Not a lot of put holders. People are trying to buy puts cheap, which suggests that they are trying to find the top. But from what we just went over on the chart, it doesn't appear like there's going to be a top identifiable, at least not from any of the preliminary analysis that we've done. Um, so it's just kind of going to do its thing until it runs out of steam, like everything else does. But if you are able to get real cheap options and they hit, you'll definitely be in the building, because at some point it's going to have to fall, right? So what comes up must come down. That's anything. So keep an eye on this. Check out the open interest. As the open interest accumulates along the sell side, we'll see. It doesn't look like there's any super significant put interest, because like we said on the chart, we can't really identify anywhere to get in for puts right now because it's trading in the middle of a channel. So that's not going to help us. And it's probably going to just gap up again tomorrow. Trade sideways, gap up. Trade it down, but hit the 200 MA, gapped up, trade sideways, gap up, trade sideways, gap up. I mean, that looks like the pattern for the foreseeable future. But like I told you, eventually this has got to end. The other thing about this is the options probability calculator. This works, I would say, on more long time frames. But anyway, basically it gives you a basic mathematical, there's like an algorithm that basically plugs in all the numbers and gives you the probability if the trade is going to be winnable or not by the time the expiration date comes along. So the expiration was like, what, June 19? So the strike price was... Oh, well, we were using the calls for the example with all that open interest. Okay, so 185. Okay, so let's see what we got. So 185. So tell us, what's the probability that Trello will be above 185 by 619? And it looks like we have a 44.84% probability that will be above 185, and we have a 55.17% probability that it'll be below. So like I told you, what goes up must come down. So chances are we're not going to be at those prices by June 19th. Now we could, if there's some event that takes place, but the probability is very low. Okay. So, and then it extrapolates it out, what's the probability? 515, 51. You can see how the probabilities change over time. 48.71, 522. So basically what this is saying is that over the next 2 weeks, we should expect to see Twilio fall. So you can see that the probabilities go up of it being below as time goes on. So there's almost a 60% chance that by July 17th, Trillo is not going to be trading anywhere near 185. Okay, so along with other research and other indicators and other confirmation, of course, no one thing is meant to be used standalone 100% of the time. But if you use a lot of this stuff in conjunction, you'll probably be in the building. So, yeah, those are just some of the things that I went through today. Technicals, you can change this, implied volatility, a change in implied volatility, because that's how a lot of how we make our money. If the implied volatility goes up, we can make more per options contract. Of course, you can also lose more, but that's how it works in this racket. So yeah, you can see that the implied volatility in these stocks went up, and then you can just click on them and look at the charts and then do your own evaluation based on how things went. We closed significantly above yesterday's close. We're in a new channel now. And then of course it hit the 300 MA. That's always good. We just got to pay. Even if you just all you ever did was look for stocks that was trading at or a little bit below the 200 MA, and then you bought them up into the pivot points, and then the pivot point aligns with the 200 MA. Plus, you look at the VWAP bands like I showed you, and then that's more confirmation, and it's at the bottom band of the VWAP, and then you look at RSI, like you see how the confirmations add up. So even if all you ever did was that, and you found 3 to 5 good trades a day, I mean you'll quickly be in the building. Okay, so that was my 2 cents for today. Tomorrow is a new day. We're going to be looking for some opportunities to get into the market. We're going to be utilizing these strategies, and I will show you how they worked out. But before we leave, I just want to show you guys some of the trades that we called out last week. So we called out, was it Amazon? So if you would have got in the Amazon trade last week, right back here, where we called that at, let me go back even further. So I posted this in chat last week, and the indicators are still here on the chart. And I told you guys, anything above this green line, we're good for calls. Anything below this red line, we're good for puts. And look, what do you know? If you would have got calls, here, boom, look at that. Could have killed it. Was what? 358, 407. I mean, that's just, you could have made an obscene amount of money with this with these calls. There was a couple more I think that we called too that was just like real crazy. Walmart was one, but it was on another chart. But yeah, I think we called Walmart like somewhere around here. And then look at where it is now. I mean, so we called Zoom entries. It traded sideways the day we called it, but then boom, if we would have got in, then if you look at this chart pattern here too, if you notice that you got this bullish engulfing candles down here, and it's trading below the buy line and below the 200 MA, right? So it didn't continue to fall. It gapped up. But yeah, if you would have gotten calls right before the close, or technically where you were supposed to get them, is the second green candle close above this line. It would have got a little scary for you, but if you would have held, bang, right there in the money. So yeah, that's what we got for you today. Again, like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think. Even if you got some plays for tomorrow, let me know in the comment section what some of you guys' plays are. Tomorrow is going to be an interesting day. We'll see. We got some data coming out. We're getting into the end of earnings season. Stuff's going to start to get more boring. And we'll see what happens. So we will see you guys tomorrow. Be there or be square. Be in chat. Join up. It's free 99, and we're there Monday through Friday. All right, guys. See you tomorrow.
SPY looks to be trending sideways at important levels. Will it hit VWAP and break up, or will it hit VWAP and break down? We'll find out. Also, today, it looks as if our heroes have stumbled upon a new way to trade and spot for trades. Will it be able to be useful in finding some trades for tomorrow? We'll find out on the next episode of Dragon Z.